February 13th through the 16th from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Seattle Center. Patients do not need ID or proof of immigration status, and services are not limited to residents of Seattle and King County. Free admission tickets distributed at 5 a.m. each day in Fisher Pavilion. First come, first serve. Interpreters available and free parking in the Mercer Street Garage. More information available at seattlecenter.org/patients.
Demetria's Jazz Alley, a fixture of Seattle's live music scene. Upcoming performances include Regina Bell, David Sanborn, Victor Wooten, Kenny G, and coming in April, Peeble Bryson. Jazz Alley, where the small club atmosphere gets you close to the performers. Maybe even on stage. Look, here's what you need to do. Send a video of you singing Peeble Bryson's part to A Whole New World. You know the song, A Whole New World. But you have to sing it better than that. And you may have an opportunity to sing that song with Grammy Award winner Regina Bell. She may select you to perform the song with her on stage at Jazz Alley. If you send your video to RainierAvenueRadio.world@gmail.com of you singing the song. It's an opportunity for you to sing A Whole New World live with Regina Bell at Jazz Alley. Send your videos of you singing Peeble's part to RainierAvenueRadio.world@gmail.com. Deadline is February 17th. For more info on upcoming shows and to reserve seats, visit jazzalley.com. That's jazzalley.com.
To RainierAvenueRadio.world. Check us out on social media. Facebook and Instagram, RainierAvenueRadio.world, and on Twitter at RainierAvRadio.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is the You Can Make a Difference show, and I'm your host, Mac McGregor. And let me give a shout out. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I hope you get some chocolate and some love today. Yes. So we have a very fitting show today, speaking of Valentine's. We are talking to Erez Benare, and he is the founder and director of an organization called Spoonz, with a long O in there, Spoonz, and a Z at the end, and they host cuddling events. Yes, that's right, cuddling events. So if you have no one to cuddle with, he's going to help you out, or a lot of us don't get enough cuddling in the world. So welcome to the show, Erez.
Hey, Mac, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, so tell us what in the world prompted you to found an organization like Spoonz?
Well, I myself am an avid cuddler. I've been a big fan of cuddling for many, many years, and I've always looked for ways and get more touch, more intimacy, more closeness with people that are close to me. Of course, my partners, my friends, and I decided to create a place for this to happen. It started about a little more than 2 years ago, where I approached a venue somewhere else in the region in Woodinville and suggested we make it an event, just have people come and cuddle. It was very, very successful, and I enjoyed it a lot, and a lot of people said it was quite unique and wonderful. And eventually I decided to turn it into my own place. I opened a place right here in Seattle where people would just come and do it. Instead of once a month as it happened in Woodinville, we have it 2 to 3 times a week. We have people from all walks of life, rich, poor, pretty, ugly, young, old, straight, gay, and anything in between, and enjoy a good, sensible and fun events and touch that some of them cannot get anywhere else.
You know, it's very interesting. I'm from the Bible Belt in the South, and growing up in that environment, you grew up in a church community, and everybody hugged each other at church all the time. That was just a natural part of that community. You know, there was a lot of hugs going on. And, you know, I don't see that in our world as much anymore, especially here in Seattle. You just don't see that as much. And, you know, I remember, I think it was Dr. Leo Biscaglia. He's an amazing writer. He's passed on now, but he wrote a book called Love, and he actually taught the first ever accredited college class titled Love in California. And one of the things he talked about is that for our health, we actually need a certain amount of touch, of hugs. He used the word hugs a day, and he talked about the actual physical effects of that. Like, it does things like raises your hemoglobin, lowers your blood pressure. It does all these actual scientific things they can measure that help you be a healthier person.
I totally agree. I mean, when if you go to a hospital when babies are born, they tell every mother, hug and touch your children from as early as you can. Have that touch extended and prolonged. It's healthy. It's beneficial. It improves cognition. It releases oxytocin, causes volatility oxytocin, which is a hormone that's very healthy, a neurotransmitter. Makes us feel good. Makes us feel pleasant, happy. If you are sick or need anything, it promotes rejuvenation. It promotes healing of anything. So, and like you said, we are, I believe, a touch-starved society in America. It's not the same everywhere in the world, but America specifically has challenges with us. I've seen children disciplined for hugging fellow students at school, not in any romantic fashion, just, hug hello or goodbye, and getting, yelled at for that.
Right.
It's too bad, and we need more touch. Everybody does.
We've become also more physically distant since the invention of these crazy things, which I'm holding up my smartphone right now for those of you that are on radio.
Yes.
Yeah. And so all this smart technology has created where we don't actually look at one another or talk to one another in person as much anymore. I've joked, my wife and I just had a teenager move out of the house, our youngest. He's 18 now, but we used to joke, and I've heard other parents say this too, that they even text their children when they're in the same house with them in a different room.
That does happen. Yeah. I was thinking about the same thing myself. We are, of course, a very technologically focused society. I myself am a computer engineer, and I use my phone at least as much as everybody else. But then again, I also realized very recently that I spend on average 2 hours a day socializing, spending time with people as part of these events that I'm organizing. I'm in all of them, of course, the whole time. So, on average of 2 hours a day, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think the estimates are higher than that for most people, so that's low. So you have it under control, I would say, at 2 hours a day. I know that young people definitely spend more time on their phones than that. So, you tell us about the types of events you host with Spoonz.
So the Spoonz is essentially about community. I'm trying to build a community there of people who like touch, who like to cuddle. And our events always focus and center around cuddling with sub-themes that cater to different subgroups or sub-audiences of our community. So for example, we have once a month we have game nights where people play board games, whether it's Monopoly or card games or Cards Against Humanity, whatever they want really. We've had a comedy night recently where we had a bunch of comedians performing, and it was extremely successful. We have planned other events in progress. For example, I'm going to do a D&D event pretty soon. We have different socializing, food-themed events. So essentially, I like to say, if my people want a petting zoo, I'll go get some goats and make that happen. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but the idea is that whatever people need and want, I will make that happen.
Hey, there is a pretty popular thing, the Brews with Goats thing, where you have beer and pet goats. So don't say that. You might put that out there, and all of a sudden you get all these people wanting goats.
Yep. Somebody has proposed a cuddle event with some pets, like cats, like hypoallergenic cats or something like that. It's an interesting idea, and I'm looking into it. So again, what people want and need, we'll make that happen.
Again, our pets. It's another thing. They do the same things for us as far as let off all those healthy chemicals in the brain.
Exactly.
When we spend time with our pets, touching them and playing with them.
And they cuddle with each other. It's very
That's
natural,
right.
normal for all pets to do that.
It's
all animals.
true. Yeah, we were created to be tribal pack people, so we need that. touch.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So that sounds like you have some really fun events. Now, were people cuddling when they were watching the comedians, or how did that work?
Specifically, we were fully full. I mean, we had over 50 people in there at that night, so there was not an option to cuddle. It was just chairs. But it was a comedy show that was about an hour and a half, and once that was over, we put away the chairs, we pulled out the mattresses, and people proceeded with the regular, normal cuddling. That's essentially what we usually have. We have 4 to 5 mattresses out, sometimes a little less or a little more, depending on how many people are there, and they just cuddle. The strong focus is on group cuddling as opposed to couples cuddling. It is, of course, permitted if 2 people would prefer to cuddle by themselves. That's totally fine. But we really kind of try to promote the agenda of group cuddling, where you get to have healthy and beneficial touch, whether you have a partner or not.
That's really awesome, because there are people, yes, it's Valentine's Day, and there are people out there that don't have a partner, a significant other, and everyone needs healthy touch. So didn't you mention to me you have an event coming up that is kind of around the theme?
Yes. Tomorrow we have an event that is naturally themed around Valentine's Day. And as part of that, we'll be serving a large buffet of chocolates of different types and kinds.
A large buffet of chocolate, people,
yes,
and
that'll
cuddling.
be fun. Yes, exactly. Well, it could be better, really.
Yeah, you can't get
sweets.
better than that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome idea, which could also get messy. I just had a picture in my head.
I plan on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what gave you the original idea to do this? I mean, where did you, I know you just liked cuddling, but I mean, what made you think I'm going to start a company?
Well, the original idea started with the CSPC, of which I used to be a member, like many people in the city. The
Which,
CSPC,
for the listeners that don't know, is the Center for Sex Positive Culture.
Exactly. And the CPC, there used to be many types of events. And at one of them, just me and a group of random friends that were there at the time thought, we would, oftentimes we would be 2, 3, 4 people on like a couch or whatever. So at one time there was a mattress available. We ended up maybe 10 people kind of on it, on top of each other in a group. And it was a lot of fun. I finally felt, that really true connectedness of a community, of a group. And it started a thing where we would basically, at least once a week, we would all get together there and find a mattress or pull out 2 mattresses and group cuddle. Sometimes 20, sometimes 30 people together. And, that feeling is really unbelievable. And it stuck with me. And as again, with time, I after the CSPC unfortunately closed in 2016, I was looking to get more of that. I was so desperate for some group cuddles at the time that I actually organized a group cuddle at IKEA.
At IKEA?
They
have the mattresses.
Well, that was not, unfortunately, on the mattresses, but they do have a nice area near the cafeteria with a bunch of couches. So we just kind of, organized a group of several people there to cuddle, and it was, a lot of fun. Of course, all platonic and normal. Yes. I guess you could say a few people gave us a few dirty looks, but it was all legal and legitimate. So that was fun, and eventually, like I said, I wanted to do more of that, so I suggested it to a venue owner, and things kind of rolled down from there.
Yeah, they probably just had confused looks trying to figure out what's going on, because
probably. Of course, that was before polyamory was what it is today. So the idea of seeing a lot of people kind of hugging and touching each other seemed weird. Now again, it's a lot more normalized and common.
I think of it though polyamory has become a lot more popular, and it is very popular in this area, for sure. I also think of it from a different aspect. Like I'm a former professional athlete and have been on teams my whole life, and that team group hug after you win, that kind of a thing. There's something about that synergy of the group coming together that is pretty awesome.
I've had a somewhat similar experience when I was much younger. I was in the military in my home country of Israel, and there was a time where my platoon and I were out to go on a mission that was quite concerning, even scary, I would say. We were all kind of freaked out about it, and our commanding officer said, "Guys, hold hands." And of course we were puzzled by this, like, what are we, children? What are we talking about? But he insisted, and being the commander, we had to do it. And immediately we felt it, like when you just hold hands with your fellow men, and of course there was nothing.
You felt a calming.
We felt it really affected our mood. We bonded. It alleviated our concerns and fears for most of us, of course. And we went on. We did the mission. It was successful. It was all good. But that really kind of struck a chord with me, because I realized, how touch is not about children. It's just normal and good and healthy to everybody. Everybody needs
That's right.
it.
Yeah. And yeah, that's really awesome that your commander did that. That's like a very Zen thing to do.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And talking about this, because I actually also host a group called Positive Masculinity, and we're doing a series right now on masculine friendship, and we've been talking about how men have a really masculine-minded people have a real hard time generally showing affection to other male friends, even if they've known each other for a lifetime.
Yes.
And or even giving a compliment sometimes is really weird and awkward with guys.
It is. A lot of people feel that it's wrong to express an affection to a person of the same gender, especially male to male.
Right.
I don't feel that way myself, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also part of the climate and atmosphere I try to promote at Spoonz, where cuddling with a person of your own gender is just as good, healthy, and fun as with the other gender.
Right.
So that happens a lot.
Yeah, it's so true. It shouldn't be awkward to tell a close friend that you care about them or to give them a hug or whatever.
Yep.
That's something we definitely have to work on in our society. So you have events 2 times a week.
At least.
That's a lot. That
It is.
keeps you hopping, and you have to come up with new fresh ideas around that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do come up with fresh ideas all the time. We have some recurrent stuff. I mean, again, what
course.
people want. One example would be adult-oriented events, which many of my members are interested in. So there's a few of those going on, and people come to me with ideas, and I'm always happy and open to exploring those. And we come up with stuff all the time. So fun.
Your organization is a member-based organization. Let's
Yes.
talk about that. So how do people become a member, and what does that entail?
So it is a membership, of course, and the way it works is basically people hear of our events either through Facebook, FetLife, other venues, or the website. They are required to contact me first for a vetting process. It's very important for me to create a very safe atmosphere for everybody. So I talk to each individual person either on the phone or in person before they're admitted to the place. So we have a phone call. We talk. I kind of talk to them, try to understand their background, their history, make sure that they are who they say they are, that that they're safe, that that they have the right level of expectation from the place. Because ultimately, some people expect that just because there's adult stuff going on that it would be like a swingers club, which it is not. So I verify that, and I talk and explain, and once then they get the address, they can show up, and then of course they fill up a waiver we have, they become a member, and then of course they can come to any event they like.
All right. So is there a yearly membership fee? Is that how it works?
There is no membership fee for us.
Oh,
the membership
okay.
is free. It's part of the thing. We track, of course, the membership just like any organization does for administrative purposes. But there's no need to charge membership as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. And when did you found this organization?
This started in September of this year.
All right,
so
brand new.
6 months.
Spoonz is brand
6
new.
months.
6 months. Wow.
Yes. Well, we've been growing. We've been growing a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
30% a month. Dozens of new members every week. Dozens of events a month. So it's been really, really nice.
30% a month growth. That's unheard of, folks. Yeah, that's really amazing for a brand new business. So, and where do you, what area of town do you hold your events in?
The area is the International District. So
Okay.
in downtown, it's actually, it's a building where we have a parking garage dedicated to this. We're free parking for dozens of cars, so people can get there easily. There's also a lot of public transportation options available, train line and buses. It was very important for me to pick a place that would be accommodating for people to be able to get there easily and park and not have to worry about costs of that. It's a really nice nice
that's
building.
an important thing in Seattle, because the stress of sometimes
A lot
finding
of times.
parking
A lot of
takes
times,
the joy out of something.
Exactly, it was critical.
Yeah. So so all your events are held at this one location.
Yes.
That's awesome. So tell us some about some testimonials you've gotten back from people that have experienced your events?
I think the best one I've had recently was from a book, a post about on Facebook for a group, a Seattle polyamor group, where somebody was just kind of innocently asking if anybody has been to Spoonz, anybody heard of it, and there were dozens of responses and replies by people saying how nice it is, how safe it is, how great it is. One even commented about me personally, which was very flattering, very fun to hear. I try not to make the place about me because it's about the community, it's about cuddling and about touch, and the people that come, but I can deny it was a lot of fun to hear.
Yeah, that's great. And so they just said it was welcoming and like they enjoyed the events.
Yes, I believe most of the comments were about how nice it is and about how safe it was for them.
It's so important for people to feel safe in an environment like that, because especially if they don't already know people there.
Yes, and of course, downtown Seattle has some shady characters walking around here and there. So we do have an armed guard patrolling the building in the area regularly, so people again can feel safe. We escort them from their cars if they feel like it, and it's a topic that we face head on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That safety thing is important. So do people? Is there a charge for the events? How does this work? You have overhead.
Yes, of course. Okay. I'm paying rent and of course other stuff. So yes, there is a cost. People are required to pay $10 for event during weekday. So Tuesdays we have events. Okay. Weekends are $20, and of course we want to encourage people to come. So we have various kinds of packages available. If you're a couple, you pay less. If you're a throuple or a group or a family, there's options. There's even a monthly ticket that's highly discounted and gets you into all the events for only $60 a month.
A monthly ticket. I like that. Yeah, that's a good way.
I call it the Cuddle Buffet.
The Cuddle Buffet.
Yes.
That's great. That's a good way to try it out. So you must have, if you're talking group, you were talking about 20, 30 people cuddling at the same time.
Yep.
You must have a floor either covered with bean bags or mattresses or...
Yep. We just have a bunch of mattresses. I actually have 8 mattresses. They're kind of stacked together so we don't use all of them all the time. And I move them in and out as needed based on how many people actually show up.
Yeah.
So sometimes it would be just, 10, 15 people, sometimes 40, 50.
That's awesome. So do you have certain rules about it?
Of course, yes.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, the main rule, of course, is the one of consent, because people do touch each other, and we want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with their boundaries and what they like or do not like to be done. So we have a briefing that starts every event for half an hour at least, and we talk about what's okay, what's not okay, how to obtain consent, how to maintain it, how, for example, consent does not last forever. So if you've had consent at 9 p.m., a person may change their mind later. So we have to respect that. People can change their mind. People can feel differently about escalation of contact. So, for example, a person might be okay with a body-to-body cuddle, but touching a person on the face is more intimate, and some people may not like that. So everything has to be negotiated carefully to be sure that we're all on the same page. And other rules, of course, talk about stuff like discretion. So you cannot use your cell phone inside the space. Obviously, you cannot take pictures of anybody. I tell people, you cannot discuss specific, you cannot share information about people you've seen there. Or even if you run across a person somewhere else, you can't just walk up to them because they might be with their colleagues, with their kids. People may not want to be outed this way.
Want to be outed as a cuddler. Isn't that sad? It's kind of sad that they don't want to be outed as a cuddler.
Yes, indeed.
But I understand, yeah.
So it's all very sensible rules, and again, conduct is very important, and we want people to feel safe, to feel respected, to feel that their boundaries are respected, and always feel comfortable.
That's one of the things that I have always loved and respected about the sex positive community here in many areas that have one, and the Center for Sex Positive Culture did the same thing about, you really are taught when you go into these type of communities about consent and how to get consent and how to negotiate, which is something I think, wow, our world would be so much better off if everybody just learned that.
Totally agreed.
Yes. Growing up.
Yes, totally agreed. Consent is very, very important to me personally, and of course to the place itself.
Well, so is understanding how to negotiate. I mean, you think of people out in the dating world that have no idea how to negotiate. They just make a lot of assumptions.
Yes, and of course, it's part of my own personal responsibility as the guy who runs these events is to help people make sure that they're all both on the same page in terms of having negotiated consent, but also for people who are new to it and unsure how to do it. You might have seen in a lot of places you go and you kind of find yourself in the corner with your snack or your drink, not sure what to do. That does not happen at Spoonz. If I see a person who's like that, who's shy, introverted, there's good reasons for it, I would approach them and introduce them around or try to find them, a good place to cuddle. If they need help negotiating or understanding how to do it, I help that too. I might even leave them alone if that's what they really prefer. That's legitimate. But really important for me not to just have people randomly find themselves lost in there. It's a personal thing for me to make sure that I greet every customer that comes in, every guest, greet them when they leave, and make sure that they're all fitting together real nicely, cohesively.
Yeah, that's so important for someone to feel like they have a good experience at something like that, especially, like I said, if you walk in and don't have friends already there or something, that takes kind of a lot of courage to walk into something like that on your own, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm trying to prevent, to make people really feel cozy and comfortable and at home from the first minute that they're in there.
That's right, yeah. So people can go to your website, I'm sure.
Yes.
Is that the best way? Do you have a Facebook page as well?
We do have a Facebook page. We have presence on FetLife, which is a website for the sex-positive community. But the website itself, so www.spoonz.org. Spoonz is with a Z at the end, so it's easy to find. Or Google, Yelp. It's pretty much everywhere. I'm an engineer, so I made sure of that.
Yelp account, nice.
Yes, yeah.
Getting those reviews in. I like
all
it.
5 stars so far.
Excellent. That's great. Yeah. So spoonz.com, you can find out more. .org. Yeah, it is a nonprofit. There you go. Right.
Yeah, it is not a nonprofit.
Oh, it's a member only.
It's a members organization.
Yes. You can find out more about their upcoming events, and you mentioned the chocolate and cuddling event tomorrow, which sounds like a lot of fun. Do you have to register for these events ahead online?
You don't have to. It's nice for me to know by using stuff like FetLife to track, but it's not required. However, if anybody listening to this wants to come tomorrow, I would strongly advise them to call me today so I have time to vet them before.
Gotta have enough chocolate, folks. So there's a good reason.
It takes a while. It takes a while. Yes.
Yeah. And what else do you have coming up in the near future besides the chocolate?
I don't remember the exact salary because we have over 15 events a month, but we have several workshops and classes coming up. Next week we have an event where we're going to talk about something called electroplay. It's a type of kink that's very popular, and that's going to be preceded by a workshop to discuss those topics and learn how to do it safely, how to do it well.
That's great. Did you have workshops as well? That's awesome.
Yes, exactly. So
yeah.
Different ideas come to mind. The wesite has, of course, the full schedule and details about everything.
Yeah, so workshops and cuddling events, folks. You can go to Spoonz, S-P-O-O, it's right there on his shirt, nz.org, and find out more about the cuddling events and workshops. Thank you for the work that you're doing and making a difference in the world. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, go out there and cuddle and get some chocolate and share the love with somebody. You know, my challenge to you today is to reach out to some people in your life that you haven't or have never reached out to, and let them know that you appreciate them and care about them. Everybody needs to know that they are loved just as they are today. This is also, some people call it Valentine's. I like to also say it can also be Palentine's. So reach out to your pals too and say you appreciate them. I'm just going to throw out a happy Palentine's and thank you to Daniel, our producer here. I appreciate you, Daniel, and all the work you do here at the radio station. So happy Palentine's, Valentine's. Have fun, and we will see you next week. Thank you for